Hey everybody, welcome back to Chortle Games. I'm Jake.
I'm Steven.
And if only you knew how many times we have done this intro, this is forward compatible.
Woo!
This is a series that we do here on the channel where we take a look back at a game that we played from our childhood, and we look at it in the context of who we are today, and we decide, is it forward compatible? Get it? 'Cause it's back. We're playing a backwards compatible game to see if it's forward compatible with today's society and who we are today. That's what we're doing. Today, you're watching the preview of the game that we're going to be covering this week. And I guess just how this all works is we do this preview. We hear from Steven because he's doing most of this. What he remembers fondly of this game, and
not
why
just
he wanted to play
fondly.
it.
Not just fondly.
And not just fondly, why he remembers it, you know, what he remembers about it, and then kind of how he thinks this week is going to go. And then all week long, Steven will be live streaming, playing this game. He'll be playing it from start to finish, and then culminating a week from today, we will have a review of said game. And said game for this week is, Steven, what is it?
So, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is coming out this week as of recording this.
Yeah.
And I thought, you gotta do Star Wars game, right? Because, I mean, Rise of Skywalker, as stupid as the name is coming out next month. And we've got kind of a resurgence of Star Wars content. Mandalorian, new single-player Star Wars game. So I thought, it's a Star Wars time. So, we already did my favorite Star Wars Jedi game. It was the first game we did. This actually was going to be when JK2 was going to be played. But then they had to be dumb and, you know, released on consoles. Like, kind, generous souls. We focused on JK2 in September, which was the authority on Star Wars lightsaber combat. So this month we're focusing on what is considered to be by many the reigning authority on the Force powers in Star Wars video games. We're talking Star Wars The Force Unleashed. One, I have not played the sequel, actually.
I've played the sequel.
Yeah?
It's pretty good.
Okay.
I actually, The Force Unleashed, you saying it's kind of the authority on Force powers, which I agree with. But to me, it's probably one of the most fun Star Wars games that I've ever played, personally. Now, I'm a little bit of a late Star Wars fan.
Right.
So that's partly because I didn't have time to play things like JK2 or JK3 or any of those.
Yeah.
So I have pretty fond memories of this game being pretty fun, but also, which I'm sure you'll talk about this, but feeling a little limited, even if it was really fun with the things that it could do. But anyway, yeah, I'll stop there. Steven, what do you remember about this game?
So I remember enjoying this pretty well. I'm kind of weird about this game because I enjoyed Force Unleashed. There were aspects of it that I really liked, but most of my experience for this game was on the Wii.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah. So this is a weird. This may be one of the. Well, it's probably the first time that a forward compatible has me nervous going into it, because I played it most on the Wii, but the version I'm playing is a port of the Xbox 360 PS3 version, and the port, because I'm playing on PC, that's the only version I could get. The port is not considered great. So, like, I'm a little nervous about like frame rate issues, but all that being said, it's gonna be.
If
good.
you played on the Wii, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's what you remember, you'll probably be fine.
But I'll try to talk about the Wii stuff at a minimum, because obviously we're not going to see a lot of the Wii features. But
right.
I remember being kind of divided on this game because I liked the story except when I didn't. I liked the gameplay except when I didn't. And so, like I said, the lightsaber combat, you know, any game that I played, you know, basically over my entire life, because JK2 was one of my first Star Wars games, I compared the lightsaber combat to JK2. And The Force Unleashed is very much a Devil May Cry style hack and slash beat 'em up kind of game. So the lightsaber doesn't feel like a lightsaber, at least how I remember it. It's your weapon that you beat people with, which is fine. It's still fun to do. Destroying stormtroopers is still a lot of fun with the lightsaber. The lightsaber fights, I remember, were pretty entertaining. But where the game truly excels, according to most people, is the Force. I mean, it's in the name. It makes sense. You guys might remember from the JK2 review that we did for Forward Compatible. I talked about in Force Unleashed, the Force was shown through these ridiculous acts of power. Like Starkiller, the main character, is on this one planet and a Star Destroyer is coming down. And I think, if I remember correctly, Starkiller, according to the Empire, does not exist. He is Vader's secret apprentice. So you're fighting everyone. And so Starkiller sees this Star Destroyer and he's just like, well, that can't live because it saw me. Pulls down. Like, he just reached up and pulls the Star Destroyer out of space. Well, not out of space, out of orbit. But still, like, you do some crazy stuff in this game. And that's where it truly gets entertaining, because I remember, like, my favorite move to do, especially with like these jetpack troopers specifically, I would force grip them, then throw my lightsaber like a boomerang, and it would just impale them, and then they would just fall, and then I would just force pull my lightsaber back to my hand. Like, it's one of those games where, outside of like actual boss battles, even more so than JK2, you feel like a god. Which I don't know how that'll translate, because like with JK2, I didn't expect to reference JK2 as much as I am, but I guess it's because it's fresh still. But with like JK2, you didn't feel all powerful. You just felt like you were way more equipped to deal with things. But like in Force Unleashed, I remember feeling like who are these ants? Why are they coming up to me? Like, get out of here.
Right.
So the gameplay, I'm expecting to have a lot of those moments where it's just like, I'm super powerful, I do crazy thing, move on. But like you said, it's limited. It's very linear, and the way you use your force powers does feel kind of limiting, to where the abilities interact with everything one way, if that makes sense. If I remember correctly, like when you you can use the force to lift objects, but you lift them to throw them, and that's basically it. You can grab like turrets. I think you can use force pull on them, and they'll like float next to you and fire. Like, it doesn't feel like the force abilities have this like open-ended question waiting to be answered like they did in JK2, if that makes sense. They're very specifically designed to do a certain thing at certain times, right? Which is okay. And but
it is okay. And like some of it culminates in like QuickTime type events.
Yes.
And I am not a huge fan of those. Certain games do them really well. Spider-Man, I think, is a great example of that on the PS4. It blended kind of QuickTime event moments very well. Right. And made it feel like you were doing it. I don't like staring at something and I hit a button and they do something that doesn't feel like I did it, you know? And that's kind of one of my complaints with
Well, you say that, Jake, but on the Wii version, you swing the Wiimote in different directions for QTEs, so it's like you're there.
See, that makes it better. That does make it better. It really does. Yeah. It's a difference.
But regarding the story as I remember it is you play as a orphan child, the son of 2 Jedi that Vader killed, named Starkiller. He has an actual name. I actually read the book, like the novelization of his game. I read it back in the day. I don't remember Starkiller's name though, but it was in there. Weird memory that I had just now as I was saying that. Vader kills Starkiller's parents and sees that Starkiller has the Force, and he's like, okay, you're mine now. I'm gonna train you. And Starkiller's like, all right, I'm a stupid child, so sure. So Starkiller is trained in secret, and I think Vader does it in plans of stabbing the Emperor in the back, which is a very interesting concept, because a lot of the question, like especially with episode 3, a lot of people question, why does Vader, why is he loyal to the Emperor? Because the only reason he turned was to save Padme, and then he didn't. And so it's an interesting concept that I'm glad they explored in this, is that like Anakin was never truly loyal to the Emperor. He always had a backup plan. And that's a cool concept that they show here. And most of the game, like a lot of games advertise when you're playing as the bad guy, like, oh, play as the bad guy, but you really just end up being a good guy. Actually, Star Wars Battlefront 2 was very guilty of that. They were like boasting, oh, you play as the Empire during Operation Cinder, and then like 1 or 2 missions later, you're like, oh, the Empire is bad. I'm good now. This game spends a lot of time with you being an absolute jerk. You are killing Jedi left and right just because Vader tells you to. And so it's interesting seeing that and playing as a Sith and doing these dastardly things. So that's cool. But, and again, that's kind of the theme of the game, is I like it except when I don't. You know, like movie tie-in stuff, or like when they make a sequel or a prequel to something that doesn't really need it, and they spend way too much time being like, oh, you remember that? Oh, that explains that. Like trying to tie everything together way too much. The Force Unleashed does that so freaking much. And like I guess I'm sorry for this. It feels really forced when it feels really forced when things happen. Like the main example I have in my head is a spoiler. But I'm gonna go ahead and say it because like I think about this sometimes. This
is spoiler. You can totally spoil. This is an old game.
Yeah.
Old game. Your spoiler time has passed.
Yeah, I'm playing through it this week anyway. So just yeah. But you find out that Starkiller was the spark that created the rebellion, and that was like, no, you know, like that just feels wrong. And like he had a symbol.
That's a lot.
I think I remember like there was like a symbol on his ship or something or whatever, and that like ended up being the Rebel Alliance symbol. Like it just felt forced at a lot of parts. But the story does bring in a lot of new. One thing that I liked, and you need to stop me if I get too far into review territory, because some things I remember really well. But there is a character named Rom Kota. He was one of my favorite parts of this game because he's the first guy you go to kill, but then you find out you actually didn't kill him, he lived. But the whole reason he survived Order 66 is because he never trusted the clones to begin with. So whenever he went to battle in the Clone Wars, he brought his own militia. So that's how he was able to survive, and he was putting up a fight against the Empire because he had already built a mini army. And that's just an interesting concept to see, because you see kind of the early stages of the rebellion through Rom Kota's militia. So I thought that was cool. So the story does some cool things, but it also does some pretty dumb things, like the evil Sith assassin that was killing everybody being the spark of the rebellion against the Sith. You know, like, I don't know.
So, question.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. I'll ask you this later. Is Fallen? Well, I'll just go ahead and ask it. I've already done this whole moment. Is Fallen Order taking place in the same time?
No.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because you're a young Jedi who survived Order 66 and are trying to figure out what you're doing.
So, I feel like they might be around the same time. Honestly, if they are, they're some amount of years apart.
Are we gonna have a cameo?
No, because Force Unleashed is retconned. It's way retconned.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. Continue.
I think because Force Unleashed was the last single-player Star Wars game I think that happened before Disney took over. I think because it was 2009. I don't know, but
I got you. Go ahead. Keep going.
So I don't know what else I was gonna say.
What do you think you're gonna? What are you expecting this week as you play through it again? Are you thinking you're gonna like it more than you remember? Are you gonna hate it more than you remember? What are you kind of thinking right now?
So this is why I'm a little nervous, because I don't know how this port's gonna be, and I'm hopefully gonna have a controller to play this through, and I think I will, because PlayStation controllers work with Steam. Not important. So I think if I have a controller, I'm gonna be in a better situation, but. I feel like if the port's good, I could walk away enjoying this more than I did back then. But because this game is kind of divisive for me, to where I walked away from it thinking, I remember, or at least kind of remember thinking back when I played this in early high school, walking away from it being like, yeah, that was fun, and just never really, not really thinking much else. So I feel like I'll probably be above the threshold of meh with it this time. I like I said, I'm probably gonna really enjoy being an awful, terrible person as a Sith. The Force powers are gonna probably get me giddy a few times, but I fully expect to be bored to tears with the lightsaber combat, if I'm being honest.
Right.
Which is funny, because playing it between Fallen Order and JK2, it's like, I'm glad I'm playing this before I play Fallen Order, because I enjoy games like Devil May Cry. I enjoy games like those, but something about having lightsaber combat like you have in JK2 and how it looks like we're going to have in Fallen Order, I feel like Force Unleashed is going to feel like a good few steps backwards. It's just going to be a generic combo system on enemies that don't die as soon as you tap them, you know?
Right.
But I'm expecting the story. I'm expecting the story to age relatively well, but I promise you I'm going to cringe at certain parts, because like my whole thing is with the Star Wars we've been getting. Pretty much any Star Wars story holds up well because of what we've been getting.
The bar is real low right now.
Star Wars A Christmas Special might hold up better than we remember it, because Last Jedi set such a low bar. Don't quote me on that. That's strong words. But
strong words.
But that's why I'm so excited to play games like this. Forward compatible. I said when we did the first one, I said, I think in the preview, that expect to see a lot of Star Wars, because Star Wars back then was the bomb. Like, it had so many good games from like 2000 up to 2010.
Right.
And so we're going to be covering a lot of them here, and this week just happens to be Force Unleashed, and I hope I enjoy it more this time. And even if I don't, guess what? Mandalorian and Jedi Fallen Order are right around the corner. So this is a good time to be a Star Wars fan, because, you know, the Abrams trilogy is ending. So, you know, we can actually get good Star Wars again. I need to stop. Don't talk to me about Star Wars, guys. I'm so toxic.
I'm just gonna stop you. I'm just gonna stop you right there. Okay. All right, everybody. Look, this has been our preview of Star Wars Force Unleashed. You now know what Steven is, where his mindset is, what he remembers. Hadn't touched the game since. It's been 5 years. That's kind of the criteria. Hadn't played it in 5 years. But this is what he remembers. He's gonna be live streaming all this week. Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. May not even be night, might be like afternoon. Just kind of tune in. If you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're not a part of our Discord, you can join that, the description of this video. That's just kind of your go-to way to know what we're up to. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Chortle Games. That'll help you out too. But our Discord is kind of the place to be right now.
Yeah, it's very important to be in our Discord during weeks like this. Because not only do you guys get a notification of when I'm going live, at what day, what time, all that kind of stuff, but also we have a forward compatible channel. It exists there for you guys to share your thoughts. I know one of our subscribers, Austin, hey Austin, when I was saying, hey, can you guys guess what forward compatible is this week? It's a Star Wars game, that's your only hint. Austin was like, you're doing Force Unleashed. And I was just like, I don't know. What are your thoughts on Force Unleashed, though? Because I'd prefaced it like, I'll gladly talk about Star Wars games. I can't confirm or deny. And he was just like, man, I love Force Unleashed. So for people like that have thoughts on these games that I'm playing through again, talk to me about it. I seriously, like, whether it's in the stream or
this is meant to be a conversation.
Yeah, this is a two-way conversation. You are not sitting there watching me complain. You probably are. You can sit there and watch me complain or praise certain things, but also, like, I want this isn't, is this game compatible with me as much as it is this game compatible with what we have in the industry now. That includes the opinions of gamers as a whole. So while I'm writing the script, I'm recording my review, I'm playing it, it helps me to have you guys bring up certain things. Like, if I miss a story beat that meant something to you guys, like if I hadn't commented on the whole aspect of Vader being shown to not trust the Emperor, and one of you guys had noticed that helps me write the review, because then I can appreciate certain things so much more that I might have missed. So if you guys have anything to add, even if it's just, man, I love this game, this was my favorite part, or man, I hate this game, this is the thing I hated the most, I'd love to hear it. So whether that's in the live streams, in the chat, or on our Discord, give me all your thoughts. I'd love to hear them.
Absolutely. Forward Compatible is going to start tonight, probably around 7 o'clock Central Time.
9:30.
So be sure to tune in.
Central Time.
Oh, 9:30. I'm sorry. 9:30.
Yep.
9:30 Central Time, starting tonight, going all week long, and then a week from today, next Monday, we'll have the full review. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Steven, for giving your thoughts. Excited to see what your final thoughts are going to be. We will see you all tonight.
And may the Force be with you.
God dang it.